You are not lazy. You are not out of shape. You are not imagining it. The fatigue that sets in after 50 is real and biological. Circulation slows. Recovery takes longer. The standard answer, sleep more, stress less, addresses symptoms without touching the mechanism. Traditional cultures had a different approach. Certain plants, used consistently over time, produced noticeable differences in energy and resilience in older adults. That knowledge accumulated over centuries before getting replaced by a supplement aisle full of flashy labels and minimal track records. 10 plants, all with documented traditional use for energy, stamina, and mental function after 50. Not medical advice, ethnobotanical and historical context, not a replacement for professional care. Subscribe for more honest, practical plant guides built around real use, not marketing. Number 1. Ginseng, the 1,000-year energy investment. Korean and Chinese traditional medicine used ginseng specifically for what practitioners called depletion, the gradual loss of energy, resilience, and mental sharpness that comes with age. Ginseng was the plant they reached for when someone had slowed down and needed to rebuild. The root develops slowly. Cultivated ginseng grows in rich, well-drained, slightly acidic forest soil with significant shade. It does not tolerate full sun. Most homegrowers start from rootlets and wait 4 to 6 years before harvesting. Here is the one critical detail. Ginseng is one of the most adulterated supplements in the commercial market. Products labeled ginseng vary enormously in what they actually contain and in what concentration. If you are growing it yourself, you know exactly what you have. If you are buying it, whole dried root or high-quality standardized extracts from reputable sources are more reliable than low-cost capsules, where the actual ginseng content may be minimal. The traditional effect is described not as stimulation, but as steadiness, sustained energy without the crash, better stress tolerance, clearer thinking. Not a one-cup fix, a plant that rewards patience. The downside: ginseng can interact with blood thinners and some diabetes medications. Not something to start without flagging to your doctor if you are on regular medication. Next, a root from the Peruvian Andes that has no close relatives in conventional gardening, and a reputation for hormonal balance that traditional communities built over centuries of high-altitude living. Number 2. Maca root, the altitude survivor. Maca grows in the high Andes at elevations where almost nothing else produces food. Indigenous communities cultivated it for over 1,000 years as a staple and tonic for energy, fertility, and resilience under physical stress. Traditional use meant eating it as food, dried and powdered, not taking a supplement capsule occasionally. Here is the one critical detail. Maca is nearly impossible to grow outside its native high-altitude environment. It needs cool temperatures, intense sunlight, and nutrient-poor soil, conditions difficult to replicate at lower elevations. For most people, quality dried powder is the practical approach rather than home cultivation. The dried powder is mild and malt-like, easy to add to smoothies or warm drinks without changing the flavor significantly. The downside: maca's effects on hormone-sensitive conditions are not fully understood, and people with thyroid conditions are sometimes advised to use it cautiously. Gelatinized maca, where the starch has been partially broken down, is easier to digest than raw powder, and is worth seeking out if raw maca causes digestive discomfort. Next, a small red fruit that fought a wartime vitamin deficiency, and contains more vitamin C per gram than almost any temperate plant you can grow. Number 3. Rosehip, the vitamin C engine. During World War II, when citrus imports to Britain were cut off, the government organized a national rosehip collection program to replace vitamin C. Nutritional strategy based on documented need, not a wellness trend. Vitamin C supports collagen synthesis, immune function, and iron absorption, all of which decline in efficiency after 50. Rosehips are among the most concentrated plant sources of vitamin C in a temperate garden. Rosa rugosa is the easiest variety to grow, cold-hardy, disease-resistant, and productive with almost no maintenance. Full sun, well-drained soil. Harvest when hips are fully red and slightly soft, usually late summer through fall. Here is the one critical detail. Vitamin C is destroyed by heat. Simmer gently rather than boiling hard, and use fresh rather than reheating repeatedly. The seed hairs inside the hip cause irritation. Always strain thoroughly before consuming. The downside, raw rose hips require processing before eating. The seeds and their irritating hairs make eating them whole impractical. They are most useful as a syrup, tea, or dried powder. Next, a root that has been the subject of more research into inflammation and joint health than almost any other plant, and one that most people use in completely the wrong form. Number 4. Turmeric, the inflammation regulator. Turmeric has been used in Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine not as a supplement, but as a daily food. In South Asian cooking, it appears in every meal, used consistently over a lifetime. That pattern, regular, culinary, long-term, is how the traditional benefit accumulated. Chronic low-grade inflammation drives much of the fatigue, joint stiffness, and cognitive decline associated with aging. Turmeric's role in cultures that managed inflammatory conditions through diet rather than medication makes more sense in that context. Grow turmeric as a container plant in temperate climates, warm, moist, well-drained soil, partial shade, inside before frost. After 8 to 10 months, the rhizome cluster multiplies significantly. Here is the one critical detail. Curcumin is poorly absorbed by the body on its own. Traditional preparations almost always combine turmeric with black pepper, a practice that turns out to have a genuine mechanism behind it. A compound in black pepper significantly increases curcumin absorption. Golden milk, traditional curry blends, and Ayurvedic preparations consistently include both. Using turmeric without black pepper produces a fraction of the absorption. The downside, turmeric stains everything it contacts. Kitchen surfaces, cutting boards, containers, and clothing will turn yellow. Plan accordingly. Next, a tree that has been growing on this planet for longer than most plant families have existed, and whose leaves have been used for memory and circulation for centuries. Number 5. Ginkgo biloba, the living fossil. Ginkgo is one of the oldest tree species on Earth. It survived ice ages and the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. Trees within close range of the blast were among the first living things to regrow. That resilience is documented botanical fact, not metaphor. Ginkgo leaf has been used in traditional Chinese medicine for centuries for circulatory complaints, particularly cerebral blood flow, which is directly relevant to the mental fatigue and cognitive changes of aging. It grows slowly but tolerates poor soil, urban conditions, and air pollution better than almost any other tree. Male trees are sold for ornamental use. Female trees produce fruit with a notoriously unpleasant odor. Here is the one critical detail. Ginkgo interacts with blood-thinning medications. If you are on anticoagulants or antiplatelet drugs, check with your doctor first. This interaction is well documented and significant. The downside, as a home garden plant, ginkgo is a multi-decade investment. The leaves can be dried and used as a tea, but the standardized extracts used in most traditional preparations require processing that goes beyond what a home grower can produce. Next, a kitchen herb so common it barely gets noticed, and one of the most well-supported plants for circulation and mental alertness in the traditional European herbalist's toolkit. Number 6. Blueberry, the brainberry. Traditional communities across northern North America and Europe valued blueberries specifically for eye health and mental sharpness, not just as food. The deep blue-purple color comes from anthocyanins, compounds consistently associated with longevity foods across multiple cultures. Blueberries are long-lived perennials that can produce fruit for decades with almost no spraying. The one non-negotiable requirement is soil pH, genuinely acidic, between 4.5 and 5.5. In neutral or alkaline soil, they struggle and produce almost nothing, regardless of everything else you do right. Here is the one critical detail. Soil pH is not negotiable for blueberries. Before planting, test your soil. If it is above 6, amend with elemental sulfur over time, or plant in containers filled with acidic potting mix. More blueberry plants fail from wrong pH than from any other cause. 2 to 3 plants of different varieties also improves pollination and fruit set significantly. The fruit eaten fresh or frozen is the simplest preparation. Frozen wild blueberries retain their properties well and are often more practical than fresh for daily use over a full year. The downside, blueberries take 2 to 3 years to produce meaningful fruit after planting, and full production may take 5 years. They are a long-term investment, not an immediate harvest. Next, the warming root already covered in this channel's tea video, but whose energy-related traditional use goes significantly beyond what a simple tea delivers. Number 7. Ginger, the circulation and inflammation double agent. Ginger's traditional use for energy is not stimulation. It works through circulation and inflammation. Poor circulation reduces oxygen delivery. Chronic inflammation drains energy at a cellular level. Ginger appears in tonic preparations across South Asian, East Asian, and Middle Eastern medicine, specifically for aging adults experiencing fatigue. Grow it as a container plant in most climates. Rhizomes in warm, moist soil, inside before frost. For energy specifically, daily culinary use is the traditional preparation, grated into soups and stir-fries consistently over time, not consumed occasionally as a tea. Here is the one critical detail. Ginger and turmeric are traditionally used together. The combination appears repeatedly in Asian tonic formulas for aging and energy. They address overlapping mechanisms. If you grow both, use them together in cooking, rather than alternating between them. The downside, at higher culinary doses, ginger can cause digestive discomfort in some people, particularly on an empty stomach. Start with smaller amounts and build up if you are new to using it regularly. Next, a seed that most people encounter as a processed product, and whose raw, minimally processed form has been used as a stimulant and mood tonic in Mesoamerican cultures for centuries. 10 plants, all with track records that predate the supplement industry by centuries. None of them a quick fix. All of them plants used consistently over time, not grabbed off a shelf when the fatigue gets impossible to ignore. The energy decline after 50 is real. So is the traditional knowledge about what helps. Not medical advice, context and history, not a prescription. Talk to your doctor. Grow what you can. Use what you grow. Subscribe for more honest, practical plant guides built around real use, not trends.